And New Orleans Saints football. And now, your Call Sam forecast first with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Your almanac from today shows an afternoon high of 95 degrees after a morning low of 76. And as the cloud cover continues to ramp up tonight, we don't expect overnight lows to improve all that much. And what I mean by improve, obviously get a little bit cooler. Lows tonight in the mid-70s as the clouds build up ahead of showers and storms that could greet you as we head out tomorrow morning. We'll look for high temperatures in the upper end of the 80s to near 90 degrees. That's your forecast first. Fox 14 News at 9 starts right now.
From Fox 14, the right news at the right time, and the Spirit of Community Award winner. This is Fox 14 News at 9.
You two gentlemen, don't F with me.
A candidate who makes a controversial rant now speaks up to clear his name after deleting his post. We'll share his explanation. And another round of threats made to area schools in the ArkLaMiss, who's been targeted this time, and how are officials reacting. Plus, scammers take a new approach to an old hustle. We'll explain how they're trying to cash in on unsuspecting utility customers. Thank you for choosing Fox 14. I'm Sarah Scarlett. First on Fox, a video of a candidate for Morehouse Parish Sheriff has some calling it a threat to law enforcement. Fox 14's Chelsea Jones is back after sitting with both candidates to clear the air. Chelsea?
Well, Sarah, the video has since been taken down. Ricky Anderson tells me that at the time he was speaking from the heart and out of fear. He says he respects law enforcement.
But I respect the law. But you two? Don't attempt to fool with me at all.
Back in March, tensions were high after a recent officer-involved shooting in Bastrop. Months later, candidate for Morehouse Parish Sheriff Ricky Anderson says he took to Facebook to discuss his frustrations.
You two gentlemen, don't F with me. Period.
As a candidate for sheriff, I asked him why he made comments about two Bastrop police officers.
Yeah, I was scared. I'm still scared of them today. They fear from them lives, I fear for my life.
And while some believe Anderson to be spewing threats, he says,
I'm not a threat to anyone. I have highly respect for law enforcement and my fellow law enforcement officers. I can work with those officers, any officers.
We sat down with the current sheriff, Mike Tubbs, and he says, as law enforcement, it's different on his side of the badge.
You know, we may not always get it right, but we'll always be there. We'll always return your phone calls. And, you know, we're a community.
But he says you can always count on him.
You go to a football game, you'll see me there. If you go to a special church program, you'll see me there. I think I need to be engaged in the community, and I feel like I've worked real hard to be there.
Anderson says it's do or die time for Morehouse Parish, and he's ready to step up.
I will do just that, and they can hold me accountable for what I do. I think it's time for a change.
The election for Morehouse Parish Sheriff is October 12th. Fox 14 will be sitting down with both candidates in the near future, going in depth and asking the questions that matter to you. In the studio, Chelsea Jones, Fox 14 News.
Thanks, Chelsea. Anderson's incident is a telltale reason of being cautious of what you post. And with a new app or social media outlet every day, it's getting harder for parents to keep up with the latest trends online. The Ouachita Parish Public Library in Monroe is hosting a class to help parents keep up with what teens are doing on their smartphones. The course will also help kids make healthier choices when navigating through the internet. The class is also open to teens in hopes of warning them to think before posting.
What we're trying to do is tell parents, look, your teens may be making some mistakes and they don't realize how far-reaching these mistakes can be. So teenagers are more than welcome to come. I think that they'll learn a lot too, but this program is primarily targeted towards parents of teens.
The course will be held tomorrow at the Ouachita Parish Public Library on Stubbs Avenue in Monroe at 5:30. The pair of inmates who escaped from the Morehouse Parish Detention Center are back behind bars. Antoine Massey and Trey Wesley took off from the Morehouse Parish Detention Center just after 10 a.m. Officials conducted a search of the surrounding area but failed to find them. They were later captured and are now back in police custody. A South Arkansas teen is killed in a crash over the weekend. It happened Saturday night after 11 on Highway 53 near Lake Columbia. Investigators say 17-year-old Kendrell Harris was heading north in a 2008 Ford truck and lost control heading into a curve. The truck went off the road, struck a tree, and overturned. Harris died at the scene, and another teen, Harris's passenger, who hasn't been named, was hurt during the wreck. Now, there's no word on how serious the injuries are. Harris was a senior football player at Magnolia High. And the town of Farmerville says goodbye to one of its leaders. According to the Farmerville Police Department's Facebook page, Alderman Lavelle Main died Sunday. Crews were called to his home around 3 p.m. on Sunday, and they found him unresponsive. He was later pronounced dead. No foul play is suspected. Colleagues of Main reflect on his leadership following the news of his death.
He was an awesome fireman. Everybody, we were a group, we were a family, and he was a real good guy, but there's going to be a void there. I can go ahead and tell you that, because his service to the town and that for 19 years, there's going to be a void there, I can tell you that.
Main was first elected in 2001 as the District B alderman. He was also a member of the Farmerville Fire Department for over 2 decades. He was 68 years old. Heading now to East Carroll Parish, where the Lake Providence Police Department's chief has died. We reached out to Mayor Jerry Bell, who confirmed the passing of Chief Rudy Threats. It happened last Wednesday, August 21st, and the cause of death has not been released. Chief Threats was 58 years old. School districts are taking precautions after reports of an alleged threat of gun violence to an Arkansas school. The FBI issued a statement yesterday making the public aware of a possible threat of school shootings. Now, no particular school in the state was identified as a target, though the alleged shooting would take place this Thursday. Law enforcement agencies have thoroughly investigated the threat. They say there's no credible information of any future harm.
We need to make sure that we limit the amount of disruptions to our children's educational learning process. So take your kids to school.
Now, Thursday will resume as normal school day with extra security to give everyone a peace of mind. And we also have an update on the woman arrested last week for posting a false alarm on social media. 28-year-old Megan Hall appeared in district court this afternoon. She's charged with communicating a false alarm after posting, quote, "they shooting at Barton" on her Facebook page. Her charges were dropped down to a misdemeanor and her bond reduced to a signature bond, which means she promised to return to court for trial. Now, if she's a no-show, she'll have to pay. Claiborne Electric is warning customers about a fake company called Southwestern Power Company that claims to be contracted by them. According to Claiborne Electric, the fake company is scamming customers and telling them that their bill is past due and they only have 30 minutes to call an 800 number or else their phones will be disconnected. Now, this is a scam. Claiborne Electric wants people to know that they will not call members after hours, ask you to pay with a gift card, or call an 800 number that is not on their website.
We will never call and say you have 30 minutes to pay your bill. We also will not call members on the weekend or after hours.
The best course of action, if it sounds suspicious or feels suspicious, hang up and call the company. Louisiana State Fire Marshals say a 7-year-old boy set fire to a church in Caddo Parish. The fire was set at Church of Christ on Christian Avenue in Vivian yesterday. Investigators were able to determine that the fire was set intentionally. The church's front door was broken with a rock, and a witness and evidence pointed to a first grader who lived nearby. Investigators say the boy admitted to breaking the window and starting the fire. They say he said that he found a lighter in the parking lot, set a piece of cardboard on fire, and lit a roll of toilet paper on fire in a bathroom before leaving. The boy is not being arrested or identified due to his age. The city of Monroe is about to sign off on repairs to improve one of its busiest streets. Venable Lane is currently a small 2-lane road that is seeing an increase in traffic due to business and housing growth in the area. The city has been given $2.2 million between grant and taxpayer money to give the road a major upgrade. With this being said, the project is not just limited to the actual lane itself.
There will be some improvements on 165 itself. There will be a northbound left turn lane added that goes into Venable Lane. The crossing at Venable Lane will be rebuilt. And then there is also going to be a dedicated southbound right turn lane that goes into Venable Lane.
The bids for the project have been accepted and will need to be signed off by the City Council. Once the construction begins, the project is expected to take a year to complete. And Venable Lane was not the only talking point at Mayor Mayo's city update this morning. He and other officials talked about everything from the city's 60 for 60 plan, which is 60 various projects that have been or going to be completed by the end of the year. Airbag safety, a new sewer vacuum truck, the Miss Monroe pageant, and the August Benevolent Act for school supplies were also talked about. And more projects will be coming down the line in the not-too-distant future. Mayor Mayo also talked about upcoming events such as the ULM versus GSU game in August and Patriot Day in September. And now Jared joins us from the Weather Center. What are things looking like out there?
Well, across the region, it has been hot and humid today, but we do have some changes in store, and that could come as early as tomorrow morning for some. Forecast is next on Fox.
Also coming up on Fox 14, the Amazon is ablaze. We'll look at what world leaders and celebrities are doing to help the situation. And President Trump heads back from the G7 summit, leaving some of his allies dizzy. We'll have details on what happened. All that and more is up next on Fox 14 News at 9.
DirecTV or AT&T UVerse subscriber who can no longer watch our sister station, Fox 14, through your television provider. First, we apologize for the inconvenience. As